Rejection. A word that feels like a wound, yet it is one of the greatest teachers a man will ever encounter. Most men run from it, fear it, and let it define their worth. But what if I told you that rejection can be transformed into attraction? That hidden inside every no is the seed of power, respect, and even desire, if you know how to use it. Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where men learn to master themselves, command respect, and rise above weakness. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join a brotherhood that refuses to bow to rejection, failure, or fear. Because here, we do not chase approval, we build character. Today, we will uncover the ancient art of reverse psychology in attraction, and how the very moment someone turns you away can become the spark that draws them closer. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could change the way you see rejection forever. Chapter 1. The Psychology of Rejection. Rejection cuts deep, not because of the person who says no, but because of what our mind whispers afterward. It tells us we are not enough. It tells us that something is missing. For centuries, men have mistaken rejection as proof of inadequacy, when in truth it is only proof of life. Think about this. In ancient times, being rejected from the tribe could mean death. Our ancestors were wired to fear rejection because survival depended on acceptance. That same primal instinct lives inside us today, which is why a simple rejection can feel like an attack on our very identity. But here's the truth that most men never understand. Rejection is not the end. It is a mirror that reflects how much power we give away to the opinions of others. The moment you realize that someone's no does not define your value, you begin to break free. History is filled with men who faced rejection and transformed it into greatness. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before perfecting the light bulb. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election before rising to the presidency. Even the great philosophers of old, men like Socrates, faced rejection by their societies, yet their names echo louder than those who opposed them. They all understood one thing: rejection is not destruction, it is redirection. And in the realm of attraction, the same principle holds true. A man who collapses under rejection reveals weakness, but a man who can accept rejection, smile, and carry himself with dignity reveals strength. Strength that silently says, I am enough. I do not need you to complete me. This shift in mindset is powerful because human psychology works in paradoxes. What we do not chase often begins to chase us. What we accept calmly loses power over us. And what we endure without breaking transforms us into something magnetic. Rejection is a test. Most fail it. But the few who pass rise. So I ask you, brother, when life told you no, did you bow your head in defeat? Or did you use that rejection as fuel to sharpen your edge? Drop a comment below and share your truth. Chapter 2. Reverse psychology in attraction. Rejection is often seen as the end, but for the man who understands human behavior, it can be the beginning of attraction. Why? Because people desire what seems scarce, what is not easily attainable, and what holds its ground without desperation. This is where reverse psychology comes into play. At its core, reverse psychology is about influencing others by showing the opposite of what they expect. In relationships, it means removing the power of rejection by refusing to chase it. Instead of begging for acceptance, you create intrigue by stepping back. Think about it. Most people expect you to react with disappointment, frustration, or neediness when they reject you. But what happens when you do the opposite? When you remain calm, indifferent, even slightly amused? Suddenly the rejection loses its sting, and the person who rejected you begins to wonder, why is he not affected? Why does he not need my approval? Psychologists call this the scarcity principle. We tend to place higher value on what is rare and hard to obtain. When you show that your attention and presence are not freely available, you automatically increase your worth in the eyes of others. A man who can walk away with dignity is a man who becomes more desirable. History offers countless examples of this principle in action. Think of the Roman general Julius Caesar. He was admired not just because of his victories, but because of his composure. When others opposed him or rejected his ideas, he often responded with patience and strategic calm rather than anger. This restraint made his allies and enemies alike respect him, even when they resisted him. His strength came not from chasing approval, but from commanding respect through self-control. In relationships, the same psychology applies. Consider this. When a woman rejects a man who begged for her attention, she feels relief. But when she rejects a man who remains calm, collected, and even grateful for the interaction, suddenly she begins to doubt her decision. Why? Because he did not react as expected. Instead of confirming her choice, he planted a seed of curiosity. This is the hidden art of reverse psychology. You turn the tables without manipulation, simply by refusing to crumble. By doing less, you create more. By showing you are fine without approval, you often trigger the exact opposite response, attraction. But let me be clear, reverse psychology is not about playing games or pretending. It is about embodying genuine strength and independence. When rejection does not shake you, people begin to see you differently. Your presence becomes rare, your energy becomes valuable, and what is valuable is always pursued. The modern world tells men to beg, chase, and constantly prove themselves. But the ancient wisdom of the Stoics teaches us the opposite. Control yourself, not others. By mastering your response to rejection, you create the kind of aura that cannot be ignored. So, brother, I leave you with this question. Have you ever noticed how people became more interested in you the moment you stopped chasing them? Drop a comment below and share your story. Chapter 3. Practical ways to turn rejection into attraction. Rejection, when handled with weakness, creates pity. But rejection, when handled with strength, creates respect. The difference lies not in the rejection itself, but in your response. Most men see rejection as the end of the story, but in truth, rejection is only a doorway. Behind it lies one of two paths, the path of desperation or the path of transformation. And the choice is always yours. Let's break down how to transform rejection into attraction, step by step. Step 1. Control your immediate reaction. The first few seconds after rejection are the most important. This is where most men destroy their chances of ever regaining respect. They argue, they beg, or they wear their pain openly, but strength is silent. When you are calm in the storm, you stand out from the crowd. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That is the secret. If someone expects you to be crushed by their rejection, but you respond with dignity and composure, you disrupt the entire script. Instead of confirming their judgment, you plant doubt, and that doubt can become the seed of attraction. Step 2. Shift the focus. Back to yourself. Rejection is not a verdict, it's a mirror. It reflects what needs sharpening. Instead of asking, "Why don't they want me?" ask, "What can I improve about myself?" Every rejection is a chance to refine your presentation, your confidence, your skills, even your aura. For example, if a woman says no, maybe it's time to work on your body language, your lifestyle, or your confidence. If an employer rejects you, maybe it's time to sharpen your skills or your communication. Remember, the most attractive man is not the one who is always chosen. He is the one who is constantly growing, regardless of who accepts him. Step 3. Build an aura of independence. Here is a psychological truth. People value what they cannot easily possess. A man who collapses at rejection is easy to control, but a man who remains whole, complete, and unshaken communicates something rare: independence. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor. He faced betrayal, political rejection, and constant opposition, yet he wrote in his journals not with bitterness, but with serenity. His independence of spirit made him one of history's most respected rulers. In relationships, this independence is magnetic. When you show that your happiness is not tied to someone else's approval, you become a mystery. And mystery, brother, is one of the strongest forces of attraction. Step 4. Transform pain into drive. Every rejection contains energy. Most men waste it on self-pity. But the great ones channel it into progress. Michael Jordan, cut from his high school basketball team, transformed rejection into motivation. Steve Jobs, fired from Apple, the very company he built, used that rejection to sharpen his vision only to return and build the most valuable brand in the world. Rejection did not destroy them, it refined them. Ask yourself, what if rejection is not a wall but a weapon handed to you, waiting to be wielded? Every time you are told no, you have a choice. Let it weaken you or let it strengthen you. Step 5. Let your absence speak louder than your words. One of the most powerful responses to rejection is silence. Instead of forcing your presence where it is not welcomed, withdraw, disappear. Human beings naturally reevaluate what they push away when it is no longer available. Your silence forces reflection. Your absence creates curiosity. And very often, those who once rejected you will circle back, not because you begged, but because you walked away. Remember, sometimes the greatest attraction is born not in presence, but in absence. Step 6. Reframe rejection as proof of courage. Most men never face rejection because they never dare to put themselves forward. They live safe lives, never risking a no. But a rejection is proof that you had the courage to try. It is a badge of honor. The more rejections you collect, the closer you are to mastery, whether in love, business, or life. Rejection means you stepped into the arena while others hid in the stands. And in the arena, even in defeat, you are already more alive than those who never dared. When you begin to live this way, rejection loses its power. It no longer feels like humiliation, it feels like transformation. You start to realize that rejection is not your enemy. It is your silent ally. It is the training ground of kings, the fire that forges unbreakable men. Understand this. True attraction does not come from begging to be chosen. It comes from becoming so grounded, so complete, and so resilient that others cannot help but notice your strength. You are not chasing approval, you are radiating power. And power, my brother, always attracts. So I ask you again, what rejection are you facing right now? And how will you turn it into fuel for your rise? Share it in the comments below, because your story might be the spark another man needs to transform his pain into strength. Chapter 4. The Stoic way of handling rejection. Rejection is not new. It is not unique to you. It has been part of the human experience for thousands of years. The difference between ordinary men and great men has always been how they responded to it. And no philosophy teaches us this better than Stoicism. The Stoics believed that rejection, loss, and hardship were not curses. They were training. To a Stoic, rejection is not proof that you are unworthy, but proof that life is preparing you to grow stronger. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king of Rome, faced rejection from his own senate, betrayal from trusted generals, and even the hatred of his own people during times of war. Yet he wrote in his meditations, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This is the heart of Stoicism. Rejection is not about what they said, it is about what you decide it means. 1. Rejection as a test of emotional mastery. The average man lets rejection control his emotions. He becomes bitter, resentful, or needy. But the Stoic man sees rejection as a battlefield for self-mastery. Every no becomes an opportunity to practice patience, calm, and dignity. Imagine two men rejected by the same woman. One storms out in anger, cursing her name. The other smiles, thanks her for her honesty, and continues walking his path. Which man do you think she will remember? Which man do you think radiates strength? Stoicism teaches us that emotions are not enemies, but servants. You must master them, not let them master you. 2. Rejection as proof of freedom. When someone rejects you, they are exercising their freedom. But when you accept that rejection with composure, you are exercising your own. You are showing that your sense of worth is not chained to another's opinion. Epictetus, once a slave, rejected by society, taught this. No man is free who is not master of himself. True freedom comes from within. And when you can face rejection without crumbling, you are free. Because you are no longer ruled by the fear of losing approval. 3. Rejection as the forge of greatness. The Stoics believed that obstacles are not barriers but stepping stones. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Every rejection is labor for the soul. It tears the muscles of your pride so they can grow back stronger." Think of history's great men. Nelson Mandela, rejected by his government and thrown into prison for 27 years, walked out without bitterness, transforming rejection into a legacy of leadership. Leonardo da Vinci, ignored and overlooked in his early career, used rejection to sharpen his art until he became one of the greatest minds to ever live. Greatness is not built in applause, it is built in silence, in the long nights after rejection, when a man decides to rise instead of crumble. 4. Rejection as a path to true attraction. Here lies the paradox. When you stop fearing rejection, you stop being controlled by it. And that freedom makes you magnetic. People are drawn to men who are unshaken, men who can stand alone. Women in particular sense this strength immediately. A man who begs for attention repels. A man who accepts rejection with calm indifference attracts curiosity. Why? Because he is not desperate. His value is not dependent. He lives by choice, not by chance. And that kind of man is rare in today's world. Rare, and therefore desirable. 5. Living rejection the Stoic way. So how do you live rejection the Stoic way? First, expect it. The Stoics practiced negative visualization. They imagined rejection, loss, and betrayal, so that when it came, it could not surprise them. Second, embrace it. Instead of seeing rejection as humiliation, see it as training. Every no is sharpening you into a man who cannot be broken. Third, use it. Let rejection fuel your discipline. Pour it into your work, your health, your craft, your mission. Become so complete that no rejection can shake your foundation. Here is the ultimate truth. Rejection will come for every man. But while the weak shrink under its weight, the Stoic man stands taller because of it. He does not see rejection as failure, he sees it as refinement. He does not see it as the end, he sees it as the beginning. And this is why rejection, when met with strength, becomes attraction. People cannot resist the gravity of a man who is unshaken, a man who does not chase, a man who does not crumble, a man who radiates the quiet power of someone who knows his worth. So I ask you, brother, will you let rejection define you, or will you use it to refine you? Will you crumble, or will you rise? Drop your answer in the comments below, because your choice may inspire another man to transform his pain into strength. Rejection. A word that most men fear, a wound that most men hide. But here, in the Stoic Golden Tribe, we see it differently. Rejection is not the end, it is the beginning. It is not the proof of your weakness, it is the test of your strength. Every no you face is an invitation to rise above emotion, to master your mind, and to prove to yourself more than anyone that you are unshaken. The world will reject you. Women will reject you. Opportunities will slip through your hands. Friends will turn away. This is life, and life was never meant to bend to your comfort. It was meant to sharpen you like steel against stone. The great men of history did not become great because they were always accepted. They became great because rejection could not break them. Caesar, Lincoln, Mandela, Jordan each faced rejection, humiliation, and defeat. Yet they did not beg to be chosen, they chose themselves. They stood tall when the world said no, and in time the world could not ignore them. You, brother, must live the same way. Let rejection fuel you. Let it push you deeper into discipline, into training your body, sharpening your mind, mastering your emotions, and building a life so complete that acceptance becomes irrelevant. For the man who does not need approval attracts it, and the man who no longer fears rejection commands respect. So, when rejection comes, and it will, remember this: it is not a sign that you are worthless, but a sign that you are alive. It is the universe's way of saying, prove yourself stronger. And when you embrace that challenge, you transform rejection into attraction, weakness into strength, and pain into power. This is the way of the Stoic man. This is the way of the Golden Tribe. If today's message spoke to you, don't just listen, act. Join this brotherhood by subscribing to Stoic Golden Tribe. Share this video with a man who needs to hear it, and leave your voice in the comments, because together we grow stronger when we rise as one. Until we meet again, stand firm, walk with dignity, and when the world rejects you, let it be the proof that you are already walking the path of greatness.